Welcome to the UFL Homer Hour, as me and Rob are going to be discussing some UFL news, breaking down the Week 7 results, and go look into the Week 8 future picks as we continue through the UFL season at the UFL Homer Hour.
Hey, what's up, Nick?
Not a lot so we were scavenging a little bit for UFL news, and I think we found something that really exciting that's happening over on the XFL side. Rob, can you break down what's going on with the playoff situation for the top two teams that are looking like they're going to go to the playoffs?
Yeah, I saw this on X. Spring Football's Twitter account talked about it, and then I went over to the UFLnewshub.com. And, clearly the UFL thinks ahead on a lot of things. We've got venue conflicts for the UFL playoffs, which is just not good. Not good at all. So there's a strong chance that the Michigan Panthers and the DC Defenders, if they were to hold on to their current top spots, or I guess
More than
technically
likely.
the Panthers are behind Birmingham at the moment. But if the Panthers were to get into the number one seed and the Defenders hold on, they don't actually get to host because other events are booked. There's nothing officially listed for the Panthers, but the Ford Field apparently is not available. And then for the DC Defenders, Audi Field is holding a National Women's Soccer League game, so that can't move. So that totally defeats the purpose of the home field advantage, technically. Now, as we all know, the big talk throughout the season for most of the fans has been the complete lack of attendance. It's really been turning off a lot of teams. So how much does home field advantage really matter, especially when you factor in that it's not like the home teams will be sleeping in their own beds at night because they're all based in Arlington, so they're flying there anyways. Makes you wonder if maybe they should just have Arlington as a central hub, and that's where the playoffs just are until I guess we go to St. Louis for the title game, or make St. Louis the hub and that just hosts all the games because we don't really have true home field advantage anyways. But just another thing where the UFL didn't look ahead, didn't make sure they had things lined up. I saw a few different solutions. I know DC Defender, Mr. King, the King of the Beer Snake on Twitter said just move the dates of the games. I agree. Have them on a Friday night. Have them on a Thursday night. Whatever. Pick a different night to have it and be fine. But it's just once again the UFL is caught with their pants down and they're not looking good.
Do we know the reason for the Michigan Panthers not being able to host it? Because I remember last year they had something similar happen.
So I've looking through this article, looked at a few other things. It doesn't seem the UFL News Hub article just says it's a murky situation. There's no public events listed for those days, but there's nothing going on. So maybe there's some sort of private booking. Maybe there's maintenance that's scheduled because, we're getting into the time where this would be where they'd be repairing things to get ready and updating things for the NFL season. So that could be an issue. But just go find a D3 college field that's nearby. Play there. I don't know.
I'm completely right there with you. So last year, the Michigan Panthers had something similar happen where they could not host their home playoff game. And I believe the reason why was because they had a high school graduation event.
And that maybe that's what's going on again too. Maybe there's another graduation event going on. That's a big venue for high school. I could see it for college. That might make more sense. But who knows? Maybe they got big, massive high schools there that they need that many seats. I don't know.
Do you think the NFL would sacrifice this for the high school graduation?
The NFL would just throw money at the problem and be done.
They're like, we're the big monster. Get out of here. This is our stadium. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm right there with you, man. This is getting embarrassing, and you're completely right that the ratings are actually generally fine, but the actual attendance at these games is just not doing too hot anyway. So the fact that we're even fighting for home field advantage is not that needed at this point, but
they'll still be flying on the same plane as the team they're playing to go to that stadium.
yeah, and the Ford Field was still bringing in at least 8,000, 9,000 fans out there. I know it doesn't look big on TV, but man, you are really taking out, and this goes for the DC Defenders too. They actually have a decent following. It's not the best, but they actually have huge followings, but the attendance is not the highest. And for them to say no to the UFL fans that are out there, that are loyal, that actually want to go to these games, the last remaining part, I think you're turning your base off at this point by doing things like this. And it's just not a good look for the league. How did they not plan ahead? They know, and especially we were going into the season knowing these two teams had a very good chance to make it to the playoffs over certain other
Defenders,
teams.
I mean, I picked them as a wild card team, but I don't think anyone thought they were going to be this good, especially once they lost their coach. But the Panthers, come on, they were a heavy favorite to make the title game.
And absolutely, and so they knew this was going into the season. Like, you can't move the day, you can't do anything to help out this situation to make us look a little bit more legitimate. And you and the beer snake king are on the right page here. So if you ever look at the schedule, it says to be determined there for a reason. So you should be able to find a spot for it. And it's just embarrassing that this league cannot do it. And if you knew this was going to be a problem, I get it right now. Booking a stadium is probably really tough to do. But if you knew it was going to be a problem, you couldn't ask around and check out other stadiums in the area that could possibly take you guys on and allow for one game. I just think it's showing some serious mismanagement on the higher ups for this league.
Yeah, I mean, if the UFL wants to hire me, I'm ready to consult. Just give me a call. But it's not that hard to fix these problems that they seem to be creating for themselves. And honestly, unless they're going to start actually like having the teams stay in their communities during the season, just let's get rid of all this like DC this, Michigan that. I mean, keep the names if you want, but whatever. Just have Arlington and St. Louis as the two hubs. Half the league there is based out of there. Half the league's based out of Arlington. Play all your games in two spots.
Right now, it's like the half and half approach, right, between the two leagues, where the XFL was trying to promote in the cities, and the UFL was like, let's take our time and get the product out there and save the money. At this point, they're doing this half and half approach, and you're seeing it in the attendance. You're seeing it. I mean, the overall ratings are doing pretty hot, but the attendance is just not looking good right now, and it's just not good look for the league at all.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the attendance numbers, there's no need to be playing games in Memphis next year. There's no need really to play games in Birmingham next year. There's just not. Possibly even, I know there's diehards in DC, but even DC, it's not looking good. So yeah, you either got to go all in, and as we've talked about this over and over again, really promote within the community, have the players based in the community, do what Memphis was doing this last weekend. Not that it seemed to help their numbers much, but to give out free tickets for kids 12 and under, do cheap tickets for adults, cheap, reasonable concessions, make your money on merch, grow the numbers there. But yeah, just another, hopefully when we're talking next week, we'll discuss how they fixed the problem, but I doubt it.
I'm on the doubted side. If anything goes like it did last year, and then that's another thing, it happened last year. So this can happen, and you still couldn't figure it out. But I'm on the same page with you. I don't think this is going to be resolved. I think it's going to look pretty bad on the league, bad reflection on the league.
Yeah.
But we did have football, Rob, and football overall pretty good.
Good
this
football.
week.
Sorry, Arlington fans, but some good football.
Oh, we're definitely going to get into that. I've got some serious frustration when it comes to the Arlington Renegades, and the way that happened is so aggravating. You can't go out without a little controversy, right?
For sure.
For sure. So we got the results right over here. The first game of the week was the DC Defenders against the Brahmas, and I think, especially the way we were picking, we were saying that the Defenders should be able to blow them out of the water. I don't think that score does it any sort of justice there. The Brahmas were hanging strong all game long there, Rob.
Kevin Hogan and this team, and that was without Harris, without anything all of a sudden. And I did say in our preview last week, I said, you know what? I know they don't really have anything on offense, but I expected them to put up 20-something points just because the Defenders have a leaky defense. And sure enough, they did. But the Tiamu and company are just they're better. They're better. And they showed it. I think Tiamu reminded everyone why he is at this point, I have him as the MVP frontrunner. Perkins is right behind him, but Tiamu's played more, so I'm going to give the edge to Tiamu.
I am complete with you. He had a hell of a game that week. He looked really, really good out there. And Tiamu is starting to hit some serious passes that are starting to blow my mind. And I'm starting to wonder at the NFL level too, because he's got the arm strength to make it to the NFL. It's just his decision-making, and sometimes he overthrows it a lot. Finally, he seems to be moving along and getting the a lot better, or he's just having a hell of a season, throwing over the top and double coverage, just hitting crazy pass. And it was a game they needed him because the Brahmas kept on punching. They did not go away. They made it to the very last point of the fourth quarter, and they needed that offense to step up to answer to that leaky defense that you were talking about. But on the Brahmas side, though, Hogan looking good. And then you also had Corbin. He looks like a stud out there, the running back.
Yeah, he was fine. Someone's got to do something. So, at this point, and I think this is something we talk about more in next week's pod, I need to learn more about what's going on with how the UFL draft works and all that, see exactly what the Brahmas are playing for at this point. But yeah, at this point, I think I would still say, why not give it to Party for one more year? What do you got to lose? He's building there. Maybe Wade Phillips knew what was going to happen with his team, and that's why he got out. But yeah, Brahmas are the Brahmas.
Yeah, and one thing about Party, although he had an overall good game plan, especially on offense, and he knew what to do with Hogan over there, that second half volley was one of the worst I've ever seen from a head coach, where they were kind of half trying to get the field goal, running out the clock. They weren't going for a touchdown, and then he had that big fumble that the DC Defenders returned at the last second in the second half. Ended up being, I think, the real reason why they ended up losing that game, because if you take that away, they're right there in it, and it could have been a flip 'em game. So, but head coaches, they learn, right? And
how many Super Bowls has Andy Reid won now? And everyone still talks about how terrible he is at clock management towards the end of games.
But he's got the Super Bowls, so it works out, right?
Exactly.
For sure. Then we move on to the Michigan Panthers against the Renegades. I've got practically taking the Renegades out. Michigan Panthers win 25-24 after another good Luis Perez game. Throws for 318 yards. But what does it do?
Is that the most yards? Is that the most yards he's thrown for in a UFL game ever, or a spring league game ever? Because that he's fine. Like we talked about it last week. Like keep throwing the ball down the field, and I called for. I wanted to see a 150-yard receiver. We got that this week. I wanted to see. He was the only 300-yard passer, but Tiamu was right there. Perkins had nearly 300 total yards. So the offenses are rolling now, and it just. I don't know. I think the Renegades out of steam.
They are so. This is by far, I think, hands down. And I'm not. Maybe it's because I'm a homer. Maybe it's just because I'm so geared and focused towards Renegades. But this is by far the most frustrating team to cheer for. I'm not gonna lie. If
Brahmas fans would like a word.
Well, the Brahmas, you kind of knew going into the week, going early into the year that this team is going to have some problems heading into the year. You know what I mean? I mean, not in the beginning. I thought they would actually play well, but then once you started realizing what you're working with, the Brahmas kind of, all right, well, we kind of know what we're working with there. It's just not the best team out there. The Renegades, started hot. They looked really good. They looked like they fixed a lot of the issues that they had last year. And now, again, these close games were competing really well against these teams, and they find a way to blow a 9-point lead again in the fourth quarter. At least they didn't have it in double digits, so positive over there. But this team, I think, is one of the best teams between the 20s on offense. But when you get into that red zone, that offensive line, the ugly offensive line starts rearing its head. Cannot run the ball. We tried it with Day Hunter. We tried it with Kellen Balaj. It's not changing. We still can't score. You had times in the red zone.
Balaj is done for the year.
Yeah, he's out now, so that's only going to become more of a struggle. And you're hitting do or die at this point. And when you have a fumble, the Michigan Panthers tried to hand us this game. You had a big Bryce Perkins fumble when they were at their own 5, and then you had another fumble on the kickoff towards the end of the game that you were in prime position. Just score a touchdown, you're going into the game. And what do? They kick another field goal. So the yards are cute. I'm all for it, but you've got to find a different answer to get this team to score touchdowns. You're just leaving too many points on the board there. And defense, I mean, going against Bryce Perkins, it's going to start falling apart. And it finally did towards the end of the game. This team's so frustrating to watch. The last point I have on this game, last point specifically involving the Renegades, is, Rob, do you think they had a second on the clock?
I mean, no.
They didn't, right?
Yeah.
Like the second, it's a lot of, after the play's done, you're supposed to call the timeout immediately. And I don't think they did it in time, but they handed him the timeout anyway with that 1 second. So to give them a chance to win, you almost had, the game was over. And then to lose like that against such a good Michigan Panthers team that you needed to win is just, I just want to throw my head against the wall with this Renegades team, because it looked like they pulled it off and got the win, and they didn't end up getting it.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so frustrating to watch. But Bryce Perkins looked good.
Except for that fumble. But, he's – and that's the thing with the style of player that he is. He's going to have a turnover at some point. And it's the hope that the defense can bail him out, or that they can score enough points that it's not going to matter. It almost really mattered. And right now that's why I have Tiamu ahead of him in my MVP ratings. But I'm enjoying watching. Perkins and Tiamu are probably also, and I'll lean a little bit more towards Perkins on this, most fun player to watch in the league.
Absolutely, yeah. He is a blast to watch. And I'll tell you one thing, he's a smart quarterback, though. He's really good at making reads and figuring out where the blitzes are coming from and then attacking them, too. So I'm completely with you. Te'amu deserves the MVP at this point, but who would I rather have on the line? I'd actually rather have Perkins. I love that guy. I think
At this point, I'd rather have Tiamu, but
yeah.
Perkins is good.
Well, maybe we should save that debate for the next week's podcast. I don't know which one would we rather have, right?
Yeah. It's good problems to have for both those teams.
Yeah, I wish we had that.
At this point, are they obviously Michigan had to flip it up because they started with Etling. Is DC at this point the only team that's had the same starting quarterback all season?
Well, you got to say the Renegades too, right?
Oh, and Luis Perez and the Renegades. Yeah, I think those are the only two.
You think the consistency would help Luis?
Between anyone that plays quarterback for Birmingham immediately getting hurt, the still to me inexplicable switch in San Antonio. Memphis is on their, I think, third quarterback. Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy season for the quarterbacks, and the finding hidden ones as well. As the Houston Roughnecks lost to the Stallions 25-33, but they started the game really hot, and McGlendon looked really good again in the beginning. So did Cookus, but it wasn't Cookus that ended up having to finish the deal. What do you think of this game, Rob?
I thought Birmingham got lucky. The Roughnecks were right there. Man, they're just. I think their struggling start to the season, I think, is going to be too much for them to overcome, which is just too bad. They were so close, but Birmingham showed why they're the defending champs. They weathered the storm. They won the game.
If you would have listened to our podcast last week, me and Rob were actually predicting the upset to happen too at some point, or that it would be very close as it was. And I thought we were going to get it.
Yeah, we it was, what is it, 8-point game, and we needed it to be 8.5 or more. But
that's picking the spread. It's pretty difficult. We might not do it next year, Rob. We might just be picking winners.
Might need to just go heads up, yeah. But yeah, and also like the exciting thing about that is, they had another Cookus went out. He's hurt again, but Jamar Smith, who the Skip Holtz has a long history with, they brought him back in. He came in there, and he had an amazing game-winning drive.
And that was it, too. He only had one drive, right?
Yeah, that was it. So, and we'll see. I would imagine, even though Alex McCaw, however you say his name, is going to be healthy going into this next week, I don't see why you wouldn't just keep starting Jamar Smith unless he blows up.
Man, that's controversial because Magoo didn't have a great start to the season, though. I don't think
he didn't have a great. Well, I mean, he didn't really have a chance out the gate, and then he got in because of injuries. But then he got hurt. But if he's already been hurt once, let him keep resting up. Let Jamar Smith go for it. And then
it looks like they've got the playoff locked up. Sorry, Rob, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, you're fine. Yeah.
I was saying it looks like they got the playoff locked up. So
have they officially clinched? Is that where we're at?
Not officially clinched, but they just beat the Roughnecks. That's 2 against the Roughnecks, and that's the only one that can chase them down. So one more win, I think they're going to go ahead and lock that up.
Nice. So yeah, at that point, turn Jamar Smith loose. Let your quarterbacks keep healing as much as you can. Because the Roughnecks are the only one that can catch them. You're right, at 3-4, and with 3 games to go, that means the Roughnecks got to win out and get help. So
a lot of help.
Yeah. So that's pretty much set there. And then, yeah, I mean, we'll get to our talk playoffs in a minute, but yeah, it looks like I would imagine we know our 4 playoff teams at this point.
It's looking highly likely, yeah. And I'll tell you one thing: what a frustrating season for the Roughnecks because they had such a bad start to it. That offense wasn't moving. They go out, they find McClendon, they go out and get Marcus Sims, and Merritt had another great game over here. They start off the season, this game in the first half, 25-6. I mean, it was all in the bag, and then the Stallions and the Skip Holtz doing Skip Holtz things made an adjustment and took them down, but. I think this Roughnecks team is good. I think it's a playoff caliber team that is getting hot way too late.
Yeah, but instead of saying frustrating, I would look at it as exciting. If they can keep building on this for next year, no, none of us, neither of us on this show, and nothing I saw preseason anywhere thought the Roughnecks were going to win more. I think they've already exceeded the win total that we both thought they would have, and they're at 3. So, and they lost this one, but they're competitive. So if they can keep, get a few more get 1-2 more wins, and that's a good building block. Or stay within a score, stay within 7, stay within 3 at the end of the game, play meaningful football. That's something to build on for next year. And then instead of talking about how we talk about DC being a sleeper, we're talking about, hey, is it Houston's turn to take that next step?
I love that. That's a great point because the Roughnecks last year, the way it ended just didn't feel good. And you're absolutely right. They haven't had hope. They didn't have a quarterback. Now they got a quarterback. Now they got hope. If this team re-racks it back and goes back next season, this is definitely a sleeper to watch and maybe good odds to, if they get a shot at winning a championship, to make a lot of money too if you put them down.
Yep, for sure.
And then the last game of the week was the bad one. This is the second week in a row they ended on a bore, right?
Yeah. And I mean, the fact that the Showboats only lost by 10 is impressive. But Max Duggan is looking better and better, and he's getting more and more comfortable. I think he's good enough to take the Battlehawks to a title. But I say it's any of the 4 teams. You told me any of them are going to win the title of those 4, 5, and 2 teams. I'd say, yep, that makes sense. So the Showboats, they are not showing off. It's not good. It's too bad because they have a cool logo. That's about all they got going for them. So we're looking at the logos.
And a good name for the stadium. I love it, calling it the Yacht. Yeah. I kind of like that bit, but, the fans don't show out there. The Battlehawks, I mean, they only dropped 19 points to the Showboats 9, and Duggan, he looked really good. I got to give a little credit to the Showboats defense, though. That's that defense is no joke. But Wynn, I think the honeymoon period's over for Wynn. That was a pretty bad game for him.
Yeah.
To only spot.
They're already moving on. They've already got another.
Have.
Yeah. Where is it? Hang on. Yep. So it is official. Jamar Smith is starting, even though Magoo's back. And then the Showboats have Troy Williams is going to be coming in.
Coming back.
Will. Oh no, he's going. Yeah, Troy Williams is still going to be starting.
Gotcha.
There we go.
I mean, it doesn't matter at this point, Showboats. It really doesn't. Just pick a quarterback.
Dresser Wynn now because of his injury. He's the emergency third-string quarterback. So,
man.
So yeah, Troy Williams is starting.
Well, just put him out there and let's just get a move on. Showboats are just dragging their feet along. It's pretty rough out there.
Yeah, and then the Brahmins are going to stick with Kevin Hogan. He's going to get an on-again, off-again weapon back in Jacob Harris. Maybe the Hogan balls will stick a little bit better than Kellen Mond's. I'm still not sure why they made that switch. I think Kellen Mond also puts up all those points, but I'm not the party, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, you have two average quarterbacks. I think that's what they're looking at, and they just wanted to try something new. And Hogan did a good job, so I would just
Yeah.
stick with the hot hand. I mean, it wasn't his fault, except for that, I guess, that big fumble in the second half. But outside of that, he had a pretty good game.
Yeah, and you never know. Maybe something's going on behind the scenes. Maybe Mon's agent has mentioned, hey, if he's still healthy, he's going to get an invite to a camp somewhere, and so maybe that's part of it too.
That'd be big. That'd
I
be
have
big.
I have
Yeah.
no knowledge about that, but something like that wouldn't surprise me. Not that he's been lighting the world up, but he's a functional quarterback, and I know there's a certain team in Cleveland that wants every quarterback under the sun to show up and battle it out to be the starting quarterback there. So
Could be a possibility. We were talking about it just a little earlier about the standings, and we've got the breakdown of the current standings. I have it by the I got the XFL conference, and then we're going to talk about the USFL conference. So the DC Defenders are leading it with a 5-2 record. Battlehawks are in second, 5-2. Arlington Renegades 3-4. And San Antonio Brahmas have got the big E, the elimination at 1-6.
yeah,
Rob, do you see this changing up at all, or are we just going to be riding with the Defenders and the Battlehawks?
I think we're around with the Defenders and the Battlehawks. I mean, granted, the Renegades could win out. I'm trying to pull up the remaining schedule for them right now. It looks like
And if they do win out, one of the losses I do know would be against the DC Defenders. So you would move them
yeah.
to 5-3, and then
We had. I mean, this
you
game.
still need help.
Sunday is Renegades go because Renegades are done with their home games. They're going to DC, so this is essentially an elimination game for the Renegades. They win. They're still not done yet. And then the Renegades in week 9, they got the Showboats. They should win that one. And then week
5-4.
10, the Renegades get the Brahmas. So, it's not over yet. You win, you beat DC and then take care of business. Because let's see, week 9, DC's got the Roughnecks. It's not going to be an easy out. Week 10, DC has the Battlehawks. So you know what? Here's what I'm going to say. Winner of the game this week, Renegades versus Defenders. Whoever wins that game is going to the playoffs.
Oh, thank you. You're making me feel good as a Renegade fan that we even have a chance. I don't think we do. I don't think we do. I really don't. I mean, you're right. We're playing some bad opponents after that, so we should have a shot at it. But, it's the UFL, and the way they're finishing these games.
Right now, I would expect
the
Battlehawks to beat the Defenders. So that would be 2 losses if they lose to the Renegades as well. And that would then get the Renegades ahead of them.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Hey, and got news for you, UFL. They're available for a home game in the playoffs. So if we need to get a little conspiracy hats there, let's take these guys out. Let's go. Let's call it our way,
Yep.
And speaking of conspiracies, it's been a big thing going on in Dallas right now. So why not? Let's add Arlington to the mix too.
Let's do it. But yeah, I'd say that whoever wins that game this week goes to the playoffs, for sure.
For sure. And then we've got the USFL. The standings have the Birmingham Stallions 5-2, Michigan Panthers 5-2. They're in the playoff spot. The only one that has a shot at them is the Houston Roughnecks at 3-4. And then, of course, the Memphis Showboats really showing the world with a 1-6 record. Do you see this one changing? You might want to pull up that schedule too. I don't know if you have it.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it right now. My main focus is on the Roughnecks as I'm looking at it. If the Roughnecks can win out, they're probably in. They've got the Panthers this week. Then in week 9, the Roughnecks have the Defenders, as we talked about already. And then in week 10, they finish the season up against the Panthers. So if the Roughnecks win out, they can get in. I don't think they're winning out. I think they're going to be very competitive. I don't think they're going to get to 6-4.
I got to tell you, what you're telling me is in order to get a Texas teams into the playoffs, they're helping each other out too, right? The Roughnecks beat the BC Defenders. That helps out the Renegades. Let's unite on this, fandom. All right, Houston, Dallas, for once, can we work together and just make this happen? Get a couple Texas teams in this thing?
If they crazy things have happened, but we could see if both the Renegades and the Roughnecks win out, we could in the regular season we could be looking at a Houston Arlington title game in St. Louis.
Oh, don't say that to the Battlehawk fans. They don't want to hear that right now.
At that point, bring it. Let's bring it over to DKR. Put it right in the middle of the both of them. Bring it to DKR in Austin for the title game.
Again, UFL. I guess the Roughnecks, they can't take out the Panthers, right? Is that what you're saying?
The Roughnecks, I don't think they're getting by. They're not. I think the Stallions are set. It's the Panthers based on the schedule they could get past.
Gotcha. So keep in mind, UFL. The controversy right now is between those two home games. Okay, so if we're going to help each other out, let's get Renegades and let's get the Roughnecks in there. And both of their stadiums are available. Problem solved, and we're going to have some entertaining football to watch.
Yeah. But it's that actually looking at that schedule got me a little bit more excited. Granted, it could all be over this week quite quickly because, Roughnecks got the Panthers, Renegades got the Defenders. If the Panthers and the Defenders take care of business, that's it, because neither one of those teams can end up with 5 losses at that point, and the Renegades have 5 and the Roughnecks have 5. So if both those teams win this week, the playoffs are locked. So if I'm the UFL, I'm rooting heavily for those 2 Texas teams, because otherwise now we're looking at, wow, you guys have 8 teams and you have the playoff seedings like this, and the way you did the schedule, we only needed 7 games to figure out the playoff teams, and we're playing 3 practice games. What are we doing? So if I'm the UFL, I'm rooting for those 2 Texas teams to win this week.
Have an entertaining finish to the season, because I'm not going to lie, I feel so defeated after that Renegades. I would love for that to happen. So the 2 games that you mentioned are going to be in our slot, clearly, for our picks, as I have them pulled up here. The first game that's going to be on Friday. Me and Rob are going to try to make our pick. Hey, Rob, how did we do last week? Did you?
Oh, terrible.
Up?
I think we both went 1-3 again.
Keep your money.
Aid
away
us
from
against the spread.
Yeah,
we'd be much closer to like 50-50 picks and a little ahead of that if we were just picking heads up. But we started against the spread. We got to keep going against the spread.
This is why you shouldn't gamble, folks, because you have professional journalists over here, and we can't even figure it out.
Professional journalist. I love it.
Yeah.
UFL, where's our media credentials? Let's go.
Yeah, we need it. Well, if we keep picking this way, I think they're going to keep us out, Rob. I don't think they're going to let us.
Yeah, we missed the Defenders game because it was 8.5. We needed the 8.5. You got the Renegades because you got it right on the Renegades. Oh, I went over, and you got 1. Oh, sorry, you got 2. You went 2 and 2. I went 1 and 3 because we both got the Battlehawks.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been trying to keep up with the standings, but
it's not impressive. We don't need to show them at this point. But you are now ahead by, I believe it's 2 games.
2 games, and we got 3 weeks to go. Rob's gonna try to catch me, and we're gonna start off the picks with the Memphis Showboats against the San Antonio Brahmas. The San Antonio Brahmas favored by 1.5. Weird, right? I don't know.
I'm surprised it's not to pick them, but I mean, Vegas wants to make money somehow. I'll take the Brahmas in that one. Harris is back. Hogan's functional. Memphis's offense is the one thing I think the Brahmas defense can stop. I don't think Memphis tries on defense, But I can see the Brahmas winning this one by 7 to 10 points. So, sure.
I always believe in the comeback game, and the Memphis Showboats have put up some good games after such a disastrous start.
They're also
But
both battling for the number one pick, right?
yes, yeah, we're forgetting to mention that this is the what bowl do you think this is? Shador Sanders Bowl?
Maybe. Well, if you saw the other news that dropped, I don't. If you are a professional sports team, especially in football, if you hear, "Hi, my name's Seth Wickersham. I want to talk to you," you should immediately be saying no. So he has some more stuff that dropped, including from this new expose book talking about a lot about recruiting and life cycle and getting into the NFL. Caleb Williams is now officially on record as he was debating sitting out the NFL draft and signing with the UFL to avoid going to Chicago.
And damn, do I wish that happened. Damn, do I wish that would have happened.
That would have been.
That's our
He
league.
would have been the Steve Young of this generation of spring football.
That would have been the cash cow, and I get it. Yeah, the Bears have put on such a terrible show, and they did a bad job again last year. So I think he needs it, but maybe with Ben Johnson, everything's going to get better. But man, he could have been in the UFL. I saw that news story, and I was upset. I was like, oh, I would have liked Caleb Williams.
Yeah, but also what came out, like Wickersham also leaked the fact that after he had a meeting with his last in-person meeting with the Bears, he went back to his dad and said, "We're good. I can play for this team." So hopefully the Bears fans mellow out. A 22-year-old kid or whatever, however old he is, he's allowed to be nervous about the fact that the best quarterbacks in Bears history are Jay Cutler and Jim McMahon.
They're gonna
Rex Grossman's in the top 3, I think. So that's fair.
I saw that meme involving the Pope today. So Chicago has produced a Pope before they produced a 4,000-yard QB. I really like that meme. That was really funny.
The Pope. Malort, the
Pope.
official drink of Catholics everywhere.
The Vatican. I never made my pick, but I'm going to go with I'm actually going to go with the Brahmas. I just don't see enough from the Showboats. So gambling world, pick the Showboats. Go get yourself.
I thought you were going the other way.
I was thinking about it, but the more I thought about it, I'm just like, I don't see it. They're just not a good team. And San Antonio has shown some serious good games this year. The Showboats had a little run with Wynn, but outside of that, if they're putting in Troy Williams, I think you're going to get the same result on this one. So it's going to be a close game. I think a pick 'em is very accurate, but I'm going Brahmas. I'm just feeling they have more talent.
Now, this is an awesome game. Massive implications all over the place.
Yeah, the Birmingham Stallions, not the favorite against the St. Louis Battlehawks, who have a 1.5 point favorite, or are 1.5 point favorites over the Stallions at the
I think that's just
Stadium.
because the Stallions have had such a turnstile at QB. And yeah, Jamar Smith had that great drive, but that was one drive. So,
well, I got my pick locked. If you're okay with me going for it,
go for it.
I think the Battlehawks are going to pull this off. I think they're going to get that win. I'm starting to like Max Duggan. The Stallions, although their defensive line and offensive line are starting to improve and they're starting to get really good, they cannot lay an egg like they did against the Houston Roughnecks, and I hope that didn't teach them a lesson. But with the quarterback situation, like you said earlier, it's got to get to them at some point, and I think this is going to be the game where it gets to them, and the Battlehawks are going to be able to eke this one out.
Well, I was agreeing with you, and I had that down, but I am down by 2 games, so I just changed it. I'm going to go with the Stallions to lose by less than 2 or win.
I
expect the Battlehawks to win this one.
Yeah, and I totally jumped it. like I was like, I got to get my pick in. I think I know where Rob's going. I want my pick in on this one. So I might have done you a favor, Rob.
You might have. We'll find out now. And the bettors are screwed because now they don't know who to fade. Stay away from the game.
Yeah, that's a bad game. Stay away from it. Well, it's going to be entertaining. Not a
It's going
good
to be a
game.
great game.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Panthers to win by 7 or more.
7 and more. So you got the Michigan Panthers, who are favored 6.5 over the Houston Roughnecks. I got Panthers winning 7 or more. Oh man, that's good. I think the Roughnecks have been playing well. I think they're going to bounce back. I think the Roughnecks are going to put it down, and I think they're going to be able to keep it within that spread. Perkins, the MVP run is over. Roughnecks will get them in this game.
All right, so you get the Roughnecks to lose by 6 or less or win. All right, well, here we go. We got 2 differences. Do we have a third difference? Are you going to stay homering all the way home?
Why not? What's the point? They need to win. I've, again, got no reason to do this. I should be just picking the other way just to help the jinx stop, but they won 3 times before where I picked them, so I'm going to stick to it. Let's go. Renegades are going to find a way to get the upset and beat the DC Defenders, the DC Defenders are favored by 2.5 points against the Renegades.
I'm going to go Defenders to cover.
There we go.
Cover and to get in. So yeah, the Defenders to win by at least 3 and clinch their playoff spot.
So Rob, he's putting it all on the line. It's all about week 8. Can he catch me, or will he fade away and get in some
I'm either going to be
here?
up by a game, or you're going to have it locked up.
Yeah.
Because if you're up by 5 with only, I guess it won't be locked up. It'll be almost impossible for me to catch up.
Just start fading the hell out of me, right?
Right, that's the only thing I could do, yeah. And at that point, that's not skill. That's just, what's Nick saying? I got to take the opposite, whether I believe it or not.
Hey,
which is what I'm doing in that Stallions Battlehawks game.
Right. Yeah. So we got the picks set up there. Hopefully, I think we're going to have a really big week 8. It looks like some good games there, and a lot of playoff implications with that. So let's make it entertaining, guys. Let's keep going. Rob, did you have anyone that stood out this week?
For
biggest
me,
surprise?
I loved the quarterback stats, but I'm going to go with it was going to be Perkins, but that fumble took it away. So Tiamu, he was the UFL Offensive Player of the Week. He 3 touchdowns, 278 yards, and a win. So
yeah,
that's I know we already talked about it. So, but yeah, he's my best. How about? Do you have a best?
My best, I'm gonna go with. I'm sorry. I was on biggest surprise. I'm gonna do biggest surprise since I already have that one down.
Go for it. What's your surprise?
It was Corbin from the Brahmas, because I always loved McFarland, and I thought Corbin was all right. He was the 3rd string running back, but man, he put on a show. He's fast. He was really exciting, and I think he got the starting job from here on out.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. My biggest surprise, I'm going to stay with the Brahmas as well, but it's going to be that one that I said they were going to score, but one that they made it that close of a game, but 2 that Kevin Hogan is not why they lost. He was a functional quarterback. He played well. He earned another start. He's probably earned to start the rest of the way. So I'm going to go with Hogan's competency as my biggest surprise.
Yeah, it was good. And my best, I'm just going to go, by the way, with Teamu on that. I'm going to shock you with my worst. I don't care if he threw for 318 yards. I'm getting mad, man. I need some red zone efficiency. Can we get some red zone efficiency? And it might not even be Luis Perez's fault because he's a passing quarterback and it's tough to do that in the red zone. But I'm just mad. I'm mad that they lost. So I'm going to pick on Luis. Maybe I'm going to light a little fire under him to get a big game against the DC Defenders. But I'm just the most yards in the UFL, and I'm still upset. I'm still upset with that. I really wish they would have tied the knot and won that game.
Yep. For me, my worst is going to be took place over in Birmingham. And it's not that the Roughnecks stunk it up. It's that they had them. They had them. They were who we thought they were, and then they weren't.
Let them off the hook.
They let them off the hook. So they weren't ready for Jamar Smith. So I'm going to go with Houston, falling short there. But as we talked about, if Houston and Arlington can pull off some upsets this week, we have some excitement going into the last 2 weeks of the season as far as playoffs go. But if they can't, the playoffs are locked up, and we have 2 weeks of everyone just throw your scrubs out there, keep your people healthy, and let's go. Or hell, I mean, the UFL likes to change rules all the time. Just cancel the last 2 weeks of the season and start the playoffs.
Oh man, they probably would do something like that too. It's sad but true. Yeah, he might be joking, but he ain't lying.
Yeah.
But overall, we'll see what happens this week. I'm really excited about the 2 playoff matches. Let's just hope they keep the races going, just for the UFL's sake and for my Renegade fandom's sake. I think it would be really awesome. Whether they make it or not doesn't really matter. Let's just keep the race going and give us some excitement to watch in the future. Other than that, Rob, you got any big things to say heading into the week?
No, I'm excited for some football, some big games with big implications. On a side note, it is technically the second major of the year for the PGA. Let's see if I know it's in a different state than it was last year, but let's see if Scotty can avoid getting arrested at his second PGA championship in a row. That would be good.
Yeah. I mean, he did pretty well with it anyway, right?
He still did. Yeah, he still did.
Yeah.
How about you, Nick? Parting thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've just got the Stars. They just need to close this game up here so I can enjoy my weekend without being nervous about my hockey team in the future too. So let's go to the Western Conference Finals and get a little revenge match against the Whalers. So
that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah. Go Stars, go.
Right. But yes, like and follow us. We're going to go ahead and post. We did post a little later this week, but we'll make sure we get it at least by Tuesday or Wednesday. It was just some scheduling conflicts that happened there. But like and follow us on our page, UFL Homer Hour, and at Twitter, UFL Homer Hour, and Rob, the Instagram page as well.
Yeah, it's the Nick and Rob Homer Hour on Instagram. So let's go. Follow us. Good content, good stuff. We got a lot of fun things to talk about. And then next week, especially if the playoffs do end up locked up, you can expect to hear us talking about what the draft might look like and how that all goes down.
For sure. Yeah, we're going to discuss that. So until then, folks, we will see you next time.